Hi, everyone. This is Faith Howard Mooney, VP of Member Engagement from the Mortgage Collaborative. And I have one of our newest lender members with me today. Her name is Sarah Senska. She is the VP of Mortgage Lending at Dakota Land Federal Credit Union. Thanks for doing this, Sarah.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Not a problem. We've traded messages back and forth for quite a while before you joined. I think you were one of our winner. I first knew about you when you were a winner on our 12 days of TMC, which is coming up. This is our third year.
Yes.
Coming up soon. But decided to join us with your team about 3 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago. You're so engaged.
We're still getting signed up for stuff. So.
Yeah, you're so engaged. I think you've been with us longer than you have been, but I don't know any of the answers to any of the things I'm going to ask you today, so I'm kind of excited to hear your story. So let's start with, what was your first job that you ever held?
So I had to think way back for this because, boy, I've worked as long as I can remember. My parents were just a very hardworking family. They always had a couple of jobs. And so I was like, I remember helping my mom clean houses. That was like her second job. And I don't know, they wanted to teach good work ethic or something, but I remember like I was probably 5 or 6, I wanted a doll, and she was like, you got to come clean houses and save your money. So anyways, I was like, boy, like, and then I had a paper route for a couple years, and I was glad when we moved to the country and I couldn't do that anymore. Doing dogs in the snow in South Dakota, that was a good life experience. But anyway, my first real job, then I suppose I was 14, so I had to wait until I could drive. And I feel like it wasn't that long ago, but I got paid $3.75 an hour. And I worked at like a Dairy Queen type place in the mall. It was locally owned. So after school, I'd go and made ice cream and cooked people tacos and burgers and whatever. But I loved it. The kids all came out, and, I got to, it was like a social event nearly half of the time. So I
sure
made food and, snuck ice cream on the side. And but anyways, so yeah, I did that for 2 years but I had to close down the mall. So that wasn't the most fun part. So as soon as I was 16 and could get a better job with better hours, I did so.
Yep. That sounds like a really good first job, though. And I love it that your parents made you work. I grew up in the middle of Iowa. I had parents that were the same thing. It's like you worked for what you got. And I think that is that great Midwestern work ethic, I think is an awesome thing. So then going from there, explain, I always love to hear people's stories about how did you get into mortgage? Because it's usually an accident. So tell us your story.
Kind of. Well, so when I say at the age of 14, I decided to get a different job, oddly, I started working at Dakota Land, where I'm at now, as a teller in high school. So they had a high school teller program, and one of my good 4-H friends had been doing it, and she was going off to college, and she's like, you should really, come check this out. And so for 2 years, I was a teller here. And that's how I fell in love with banking. I mean, I fell in love with the credit union, but I loved being a teller. Again, it was kind of a social thing. Like I felt like I knew everyone in this town. And so I did leave. I went to South Dakota State University for economics. And then after college, they didn't have an opening here right away. Back. And then I think I started actually as an assistant for commercial lending, and I did that for about 6 months. And then so 2003 hit, and it was like the first like refi boom, right? I think.
Mm-hmm.
So the head of the mortgage department came to me, and she's like, I think you need to come work for me. We need help. So that's how I started. I started as a mortgage loan officer in 2003. And then I did that for a few years until we opened a branch. I kind of live by a small town, and we opened a new branch, and they asked me to be the branch manager there. So I did that for 4 or 5 years. And so I still kept dabbling in mortgage. So I dabbled still. Back then you could dabble in mortgage lending. It doesn't really work now, but we took the app and did the loan and did the paperwork, didn't have underwriters, whatever. But anyway, so then '09 hit. And that's when like truth in lending changes started happening.
Sure.
That CFPB became a thing and interagency guidelines and all that stuff. So anyways, they called me back to the main office. They're like, someone's got to come that's organized and read these regulations. And I like compliance and all that kind of stuff. So that's when I kind of started running the mortgage. Had 5 people in the department in '09, and now we have 24. But we've done mergers, and like I said, I mean, we had to get underwriters. We just really had to develop a lot in the last years since I came on. But it's been fun. It's the challenge, as everybody knows, but a fun challenge.
Fun challenge, and it's like you really truly know your organization well because you've been in multiple aspects of it. So that's pretty neat as well. When you started back, obviously you've moved around within the organization. Is there one thing that you wish that somebody, as a younger person, would have told you coming into it that you now seems like super clear and you just should have known?
When you said that, I was like, boy, there are so many lessons I've learned from being in the mortgage industry. But, I think I was so young when I started this, and I wish someone would have just told me to relax a little bit because I'm a perfectionist. And then especially when I started running this department, I just wanted everything to be and you just can't. Like every day, every week, something changes, right? So it was stressful for a lot of years. And then hiring staff, and of course, just naturally people leave. And as soon as I would say, boy, I think I got things under control, like boom, something would happen, right? Like either in the markets or. So I had a really stressful few year period in my life, and I had young kids at the time. But now, I feel like nothing bad. I mean, you can't even get me worked up now. So maybe some of that just comes with life too, but I don't know. That sure would have made some of those years easier in the mortgage industry.
Yeah,
but
I think like a perfectionist in the mortgage industry, it's hard to be one of those. Because you just explained what the last 3 years have been all over again from like a completely different angle. So
right.
I think that would be a hard thing, but great advice for anybody coming in. Relax and kind of learn to go with what happens because things kind of go up and down a little bit. If you weren't in mortgage, what would you be doing?
Well, if I had to have another job, looking back, I mean, I think I just didn't even think outside the baking world because again, I was a teller and I love the cryers. That's all I wanted to do. But part of me wishes, I just love, I like debating maybe is better than arguing. And I love, I just lost my train of thought there. But anyways, I just love reading and learning. And so I always think I should have been an attorney. That's what I told my daughter. She's my little mini me. And I'm like, you should be an attorney. Mom didn't do it because we're good debaters. And I was just, I don't know, it's just how our mind works. But if other than a job, if I didn't have to work, I'd be traveling and just anything outdoors. I'm kind of an outdoor person, and I want to dabble in politics sometime, maybe when I'm a little bit, my kids are out of school. So I don't know. I'd be I have many different interests. So it was hard to narrow that down, but there's a lot of times I'm like, I should have just tried to be an attorney.
I could see you being an attorney. You're very exact, and you are well educated and read. You can tell. So I could see that happening. So we're rolling onto it. Seems really hard to believe, but we're coming up to the holidays this year. In some ways it seems like it's been slow, and in other ways it seems like it's gone so fast. So share with me your favorite Thanksgiving side dish.
My mom's dressing. It's my favorite. I don't know what she puts in it. I've never tried to learn, but that's what she has to bring to every holiday. So, and ham. I would much prefer ham over turkey, but my mom's dressing's to die for.
Oh, well, you'll have to show her this recording. I'm sure she loves it that you
Yes.
love her cooking. Well, it has been great getting to know you a little bit better. We love having you in. I know that you and Ashley have already connected and are doing some things together, and we just are here to help you and your team in whatever manner that we can going forward.
Yes. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm signed up for everything. So I'm going to be
Awesome.
here for a while.
That's what we love. Thanks for doing this with me today.
Yes. Thanks for having me.